Games under $20 on the PlayStation Store Black Friday sale. These are games that I recommend under that sort of $20 to $15 price point. We'll do a separate video of games under 15 bucks. Let's have a look at the games. There's nothing really in here that we haven't seen for 20 bucks before, but Death Stranding Director's Cut down to 20 bucks. This is, I'm sure we've seen Death Stranding, the original one, down to 20 bucks before in these sale videos, so nothing too surprising here. Look, Death Stranding's an interesting one. It's a third-person action game with not as much action as you might hope. You play as Norman Reedus, Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead in this sort of Kojima game. If you like Kojima games, you'll probably enjoy it. But it is basically a UPS simulator. You're basically delivering packages across. The world is actually pretty incredible, and the story itself is really unique in the way it's told, and the cutscenes look incredible. In fact, the game looks fantastic, and it actually plays pretty well too. There's just not a lot of stuff to do in it, but there is a lot of busy work in it. So look, I don't know if I've sold it to you much with that description, but there is rumors of a sequel coming, so to prepare yourself for that, you can pick it up a bit cheaper here. This is also available on PS5, so you're getting a PS5 and a PS4 version for this price as well. Ghost of Tsushima is discounted. I've done like 3 versions of this here because I thought a few people have already picked up the original Ghost of Tsushima. This is the director's cut, so it comes with extra content, and there's 3 sort of packages they've got here. One for 20 bucks or $19.79, which is just the director's cut game. The director's cut bundle for $29.39, and then an upgrade as well, PS4 Ghost of Tsushima director's cut. The bundle is for the PS5, PS4 version, and I think that kind of sucks that they didn't just give you PS5 version for the same price as the PS4 version, because they're fundamentally the same game. You're just paying an extra $10 tax if you have a PS5, which kind of sucks. Although I don't know if you need to buy the PS5 version, because the PS4 version of this game runs exceptionally well. If you haven't picked up Ghost yet, I think it's probably Sony's best game they've released, like in the last like 4 or 5 years, maybe except for God of War. It's a third-person action game with that same classic Sony narrative to it as well. You know, the narrative going from cutscenes to gameplay really seamlessly, but it has a really good gameplay loop and action loop in there too. It's an open world set in Tsushima, Japan. Plays this guy called Jin. He's a samurai and he's taking part in basically like a war in Tsushima, Japan. It's great. It's really good. A lot of rumors about a sequel coming out to this one too, so hopefully we see that from Sucker Punch in the next couple of years, but good price on this one at 20 bucks. I do recommend it at $20 even. It's still a great game. It's just a shame the pricing on this is a bit funny. The upgrade, I don't really know what that gets you. I'm guessing that gives you the upgrade from the original to the director's cut, so you get that Isle of Tsushima or the Isle of whatever it's called, extra DLC in there too. This is a great game though. This is, I'd say out of everything in this sale, Ghost of Tsushima, I mean, not just in the sale, ever, out of all of Sony's games, this is a must play in my opinion. Evil Dead, the game, PS4 and PS5 edition, probably a slightly strange one to include here because it's more of a AA under the radar style game, but this is something I spent a lot of time playing in 2022. As you guys know, I really like asymmetrical horror games like Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, and Evil Dead the game is very similar to that. You have 4 survivors playing as Ash and his team of survivors, and you have one person playing as the Evil Dead, basically, the monster, the creature. They kind of control the game as a bit of an RTS against the players who are in a third-person view. You have to go through this massive map, and you have to do these objectives to finish the map. That's similar again to Friday the 13th. It's not an amazing game, it's not an incredible game, and I wouldn't say it's even groundbreaking per se, because like I said, Dead by Daylight and Friday have already done this, but it's a really fun game to play with a couple of friends. That's what I will say about it. It's about 6 or 7 months old at this point, so I don't know how the servers are going to be looking, but when I was playing it at launch, the game was pretty enjoyable, even though it was a little bit buggy. If you like co-op games or things to play with friends, this is it's a good option, and look, at 20 bucks, I think it's a decent enough. A couple of other co-op games you could check out is It Takes Two, and there's a bit of a bundle here from Hazelight as well, but It Takes Two is this third-person co-op game. This is a cool one because you can play it either split screen with 2 controllers in the same room, which very few games let you do on the PS4 and PS5, or you can play it online as well, and it still splits the screen, so you can see each other's screen as you're playing it. It's a neat one. This is about a husband and wife going through a divorce, which is kind of a sad thing, but they tell the story from their daughter's perspective as if overcome their relationship together. A Way Out is about these 2 prisoners escaping from prisons, basically Prison Break the game, or as close as we'd ever get to Prison Break the game. Same concept though. You have to play the whole game co-op. You can't play it by yourself, and it's all split screen, so you can play them together in a room or online together. And one cool thing that these 2 games both do is they give you like a pass that you can give to a friend, and they can play the game for free with you if you own the game. So only one of you needs to own this game for you both be able to play it co-op. So if you pick it up, play it with a friend over the holiday season, and they don't have to spend any money, which is a neat little addition as well that Hazelight did here. Both of these are great. They're really good co-op games. Some of the best co-op games I think on PlayStation 4, maybe on PlayStation period at all. So truly co-op and not competitive, in any way. Look, it's just different and it makes them interesting. They're unique and very enjoyable. Diablo 2 resurrected down to $20, 50% off. Probably a little bit high for this one. I would have liked to have seen it at 15 bucks. Diablo 2, this is just the classic Diablo 2. You've got that sort of isometric viewpoint down on your character. It's about looting, it's about raiding, it's about killing enemies. You've seen this game before. You've probably played it on PC 10 or 15 years ago like I did. But if you didn't, you can check it out on the PS4 and the PS5. Nice that they have included both editions of the game here. Back 4 Blood, another 4-person co-op game. This is basically, I mean, it isn't basically, it is Left 4 Dead the game. This had a lot of problems at launch. When it launched, it was rough. It wasn't very fun. The difficulty curve was too high, but they have fixed a lot of that stuff now about a year later. So I can finally recommend this game for you. This is a PS4 and a PS5 version. If you've got a couple of buddies, you can play it. If you don't, you can play it online with people, or you can just play with bots, and it works well. Obviously more fun if you play it with friends over a headset, and you can kind of just talk nonsense as you're playing through it, but not a bad little co-op one here as well. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, 20 bucks, 50% off on this one. Probably a little bit high as well. It would have been nice to see this one at $15 too, but I recommend this every time because it's like a classic game from my childhood back on the PS1 playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 was awesome. So it was great that Activision invested to bringing these back on the PlayStation 4. This is the PS4 bundle. Unfortunately, if you want the PS5, you do have to upgrade for it, which I don't know why they keep doing that. At this point, it should be free, but look, it's not. It's a skateboarding game. It's the games you remember as a child if you're of my age. If you're not my age and you haven't played these games, it's a skateboarding game. They're fun though. They're fun little arcadey games. The levels are really short. The runs are like 2 minutes each. So it's a low commitment, I would say. Not bad. 20 bucks, probably a little bit high though. Sonic Origins, again, 50% off down to 20 bucks. This only came out like 2 months ago, so I'm surprised to see this at 50% off already. It must not have sold particularly well, but this is like a mashup of all of the classic Sonic games into one. I don't think it's a remaster. I don't know if they've done any like additional work remastering it, but it does have a trophy list that covers across all Sonic games. I really like this because they included Sonic CD in this one, which is kind of a lost Sonic game to a degree. It's not like a mainline Sonic game and one that often gets forgotten. Where Metal Sonic was introduced though. If you're a bit of a Sonic fan, this is a really decent collection. It's like they've done a lot of these in the past, so it's kind of hard for me to be like, hey, this is an incredible Sonic collection, because it is just more of the same. But it is, I guess, the most recent definitive Sonic collection on PlayStation 5 with a bunch of different Sonic classic games in there. I'm finding myself lending more towards these classic games, probably because I can kind of commit my time to them a little bit easier nowadays. I don't know if that's something that a lot of you guys are finding as well. Kena Bridge of Spirits is 50% off. This one's been out for about a year too, so it probably would have been nice if we've seen a bit more of a discount on this one. This is more of a third-person mascot game, maybe action-adventure mascot game, I would say. This is one of the headline games that headlined the PlayStation 5's launch. It got really, really good reviews when it came out. I think a lot of people were expecting a lot from it, but unfortunately, mascot games can only really do so much, and I think it did a really great job of retaining sort of that love and passion that the developers obviously had for PlayStation 2 mascot games. Some of the newer gamers were kind of a little bit let down by that, because I think that was some of the criticism around it, but the game itself is pretty decent, so recommend that one. Chivalry 2 is 50% off down to $20 as well. This is Chivalry 2 is kind of like a medieval version of Call of Duty. That's what I would say. They say online medieval warfare here, and I think that's accurate. It's basically like this giant large-scale warfare, but you're knights rather than soldiers. That's the general crux of it. It's a pretty decent little franchise. I really enjoyed the original Chivalry. I played it tons on PC and on PlayStation 3. Chivalry 2 is one that I'm yet to get around to though, so I actually own this one. I should probably play it at some point. There you go. Games under 20 bucks on the PlayStation Store sale. We'll have another Black Friday video coming out tomorrow. Let me know which games you're picking up. I'll see you then.